Hello snowboarders of the internet, I'm your host Avran LeFeber, and in this video we're going to review the Nidecker Score. This board features Nidecker's free ride cam rocker, which is camber underfoot, rocker in the tip and the tail. This board is available in 149, 152, 156, 156 wide, 159, 159 wide, 162 wide, 165 wide. I rode this board up at Arapahoe Basin on a day that was bluebird for the most part. There was a storm rolling in, but it didn't quite affect me while I was out riding. The snow was a little chundery in spots, a little fresh in others, perfectly groomed in even more spots. Basically, it was just pre-season conditions with everything going on, and I rode this board with my K2 Indies and my K2 Thraxis boots. This board does come in on the softer side, so you have a lot of play out in the tip and the tail, slightly stiffer through that camber section in the middle with a lot of torsional flex to it. Basically, it's not a full-blown jib noodle, but it's not a middle-of-the-road flex either. I mean, this is just something that you can just flex into any which way you want with it. And it's going to have a little bit of rebound. That's about it. I mean, hell, it's a $299 board with cam rocker. What was really nice about this board is there's actually solid stability to it underfoot. So you could charge with it and not feel like you were going to get bucked around or wash out. Yeah, you might notice a little bit of play up in the tip or the tail at high speeds, but it never really resonated back underfoot. It just kept a nice, solid, smooth ride that felt very familiar. This board's got moderate snap to it, which is nice. It's one of those boards you don't have to be assertive with when you load it up. You can just sort of be laid back and it's still going to pop and snap, and that's because of the camber underfoot. There is a snap point right where the camber meets the rocker, so when you load it, it just wants to slingshot you a little bit higher. Once again, not assertive, it's just there. It does have some rebound to it. Now, when it comes to jumping, I would definitely hit like 15 to 20 foot jumps max with it, maybe 25. I personally didn't get to hit any jumps. It's still early season here in Colorado. I did send it off of a stall a little bit and just was popping with it, and I can see how this thing's gonna pop. Side hits were a blast. I mean, this thing just wanted to launch, which was nice. That stability underfoot doesn't allow it to be bucked around when you're charging in through the chunder to hit a little whoop or something. So it's got that going for it, I guess. When it comes to buttering and jibbing with this board, there's one way to sum it up. It's like Fisher-Price's my first board with rebound that I'm going to press with. Yeah, I know that's a lengthy ass title, but that's how I would describe it. It's got a big platform in the tip and the tail where that rocker zone is, and it locks into presses. You notice the rebound of the camber, but it doesn't overpower you. You can just sort of boop, pop right back out with very little effort, which makes it nice when you're buttering. You can get sideways, you can flex into this board, but if you need to pop out of it or revert around, you've got that snap and spring right where you need it. Now, jibbing on this board locks in perfectly on presses. That camber underfoot is nice for getting sideways on fat tubes and boxes. You won't have a problem. This is a board for progressing with, and it doesn't fucking suck. I mean, that's pretty much it. Now let's talk about carving with this thing. One thing I want you to know is if you look down the side cut of the board, there is a tiny little bump right where the rocker meets the camber, so you get a little more traction. It's not magnet traction, it's not a traction bump, it's pretty much just a blend point where the camber meets the rocker. They're not marketing it. I noticed it. There was a little bit of added grip right there, so you could steer it from it. Not much. Overall, this board can carve, but if you're an aggressive rider or someone that's beyond its ability, you'll overpower it. That torsional flex, you can just twist this board and you'll constantly realize that you're oversteering the board. It happened to me. I would just drive into a heel side carve and suddenly catch my heel because I'm over twisting the board. It just doesn't have enough rebound and control torsionally for someone that really knows what they're doing. But it's a $299 board, so it's definitely not geared for someone like me that's been riding forever. Now, short, tight, quick setup turns, perfect. Long, drawn out carves, leaves a little bit more to be desired for me personally because I know what the fuck I'm doing, but if you're just learning and progressing, you're probably gonna be just fine with it. So who's this board for? I think it's for someone that's coming off rental equipment or buying their first snowboard, but they don't want to outgrow it right away. They want it to be something that they can progress with and hold on to for a couple seasons as they get better. Right away when I got on this board, there was a familiarity to it. It just felt like something I had ridden a few times before. And the more I rode it, the more I started to realize it was very comparable to the Jones Explorer in a lot of its aspects, except it was softer. So basically, it's a softer Jones Explorer without magnet traction. Now, with that said, could I overpower this board? Yes, I did when I was carving. I could just torsionally twist it and really get it to just flex in any which way. But that didn't make it a bad board. This was actually a fun ride. I mean, if I was just cruising with people that were learning or not up to the level I'm at, no problem. This thing was great. But for hard charging, I wouldn't do it all day, but it can handle it. Overall, this board actually really impressed me. So kudos to you, Nidecker. What boards would I find comparable to the Score by Nidecker? Well, right off the bat, I'm thinking the Yes Libre, the Jones Explorer, the Rosinal Templar, the Rome Reverb Rocker. This has been my review of the Nidecker Score. Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it? Do you own one? Leave me a comment down below and let's have a conversation. If you're new here, remember to subscribe, click the bell, get those notifications. That way you're not missing any of the videos that we've got coming out. And trust me, we've got almost daily content coming out, so you don't want to miss it. And if you'd really like to support us, check out Angry Snowboarder VIP. Yeah, there's a paywall, but we've got stickers. Sometimes you get early content. There's polls. We have giveaways. It's just a great way to support us, and we try to support you back through it. As always, I've been your host, Avran LeFeber, and I'll see you in another video.